In today's Skirmish Wargames Battle Report, a band of sanctioned witch hunters faces an unspeakable evil on the edge of civilization as we test drive Witchin Hour, a brand new tabletop skirmish game.
Well, hi folks, it's Lee from skirmishwargames.com and welcome to our first video of 2020. We took a couple of weeks off for the holidays, and then the last 2 weeks, the first couple of weeks of January, we actually decided to do some painting. We had a big backlog, and so we've been painting new miniatures and basing older miniatures and actually even refurbishing some miniatures we got off of eBay that needed some TLC and trying to bring them back in play. So that's been going great and gives us a lot of new minis to show you in some upcoming games that we have planned. So today we're looking at a brand new game called Witchin Hour, which is out of Holland, and it's due to hit the Kickstarter world here in February 2020, so just about a week or 10 days from when we're filming this. So we first heard about this game back in July when I got an email from a guy named Patrick Sint Nicholas out of Holland, and he's a gamer out there, and he was coming up with this game, kind of witch hunters versus witch covens. And that could take place in medieval Europe, in Pilgrim era North America, or some science fiction future, 40,000 years hence. Anywhere where the forces of the Inquisition could go after the forces of magic. So that's what we're going to look at today. We're going to be testing out the beta rules. We did a practice game earlier, and we're going to kind of film our next game here. So when we absorb a new game like this, we try our best to kind of get a sense of the rules and portray them as accurately as possible. But things being the way they are, there may be a few errors here and there. Maybe our interpretation is a little off, but hopefully you'll get a sense of the flavor of the game. And if that's something that you're interested in, then you can check it out on Kickstarter in February. And we'll put a link in the description of this video where you can get some more information. So this is a warband-based tabletop skirmish war game. Basically, you have the witch hunter team versus the witches coven. And we're using sort of smaller warbands. You can scale these up considerably larger if you like. So these are 56-point war bands, and let me take a minute just to kind of go through the various models, the various units, and show you what their capabilities are. And then we'll walk you through the gameplay, sort of step by step. And that'll be a good refresher for us too, because we may need to remind ourselves how certain mechanics work. But this is a little bit different than other games we've played in the past, so I think you'll enjoy it. Okay, let's start by looking at the Witch's Coven. This is led by the Supreme Witch, Desdenova, for all you BOC fans out there. And she has a couple of acolytes. This is Sabrine and Hester, and all of these witches have certain spells they can use one time per game. And also Desdenova, the Supreme Witch, she has an evil eye she can use when in close combat, and also poison she can put on her dagger. So she's pretty tough. She's a 20-point model, has 4 hit points. She gets what they call activation tokens. She gets 3 of them. She gets 3, her 2 acolytes each get 3. I think some of these little cultists only get 1. But those activation tokens are going to play a big role in the game. So in certain models want to take actions during the game, they have to actually bid using that pool of action tokens. And the other player has an opportunity to outbid them to try to react to that model before it actually gets to take its moves. So it's sort of an interesting mechanic. You have to decide how many chips from your pool of action tokens do you want to spend. And if you run out, then you can't take any more actions. And if your opponent still has chips left, then all of a sudden they're running around the table making actions that you can't respond to. So it's a little bit of a guessing game. There's a similar mechanic to that which will come into play when we get into close combat. So models will have a certain number of combat dice that they can use, a pool, and they have to decide how many to use at certain times. And if they run out, the consequences can be fairly drastic. But anyway, this is the Supreme Witch. She's the leader of this coven. You have her 2 acolytes. You have a bunch of cultists, and these are just little 1-point guys. This guy's got a bow. This guy's got a spear, so he can attack from 1 inch away. This guy's got a Morning Star. That's a large 2-handed weapon, so it does more damage. It gets a pretty good bonus on hitting. This is a monster. One of the spells that the Supreme Witch has is Summon Large Monster. So this is a guy that's probably going to come into play. And then here is the cult leader. He is Maximilian, and he's got a large 2-handed saber, which is a pretty deadly weapon. So I probably should mention the rest of their spells. Desdenova, as I mentioned earlier, has Summon Large Monster. She can also launch a Thunderbolt, which is basically a 6-inch range lightning bolt that does 2 points of damage. She can displace self, so she's in close combat. She can basically teleport herself 6 inches away. And she can also Bind Feet, which is sort of a minor spell that makes roots come up and keeps an opposing model from moving around. This acolyte here, this is Hester. Hester can cast Magical Strength, which gives her a bonus in close combat. She can summon Mist, which helps shield her from missiles. She also has Enthrall, which allows her to charm an enemy model. Not the Witch Hunter and not the Witch Hunter Apprentice, but any of the mercenaries or thugs can be charmed, which means that for one round she can turn them against her other enemies, so that can be pretty interesting. And then we have Sabrine here, and she has kind of medical-based spells, so she can heal herself or heal one of her allies if she's in base-to-base contact with them. She can also inflict pain at 4-inch range and cause sickness, which basically makes one of the enemy models double up and retch and causes a lot of bad things if they're trying to, fight somebody in combat or do their actions. So anyway, so this is the Witch's Coven. They have basically come in from the edge of humanity, from the edge of civilization, and have set up base here in an abandoned temple and are causing crops to fail and, plague of frogs, and they're poisoning the well water and basically trying to drive out all the local farmers. And so a band of witch hunters has been dispatched from the central government to try to dislodge these guys. And if the witch hunters can kill the Supreme Witch and both the acolytes, that would be a pretty good victory. If these guys survive, after all said and done, they're going to continue to cause a lot of mischief. So we're going to see if the witch hunters can do their sacred duty and, rid the land of the sorceress and her minions. And speaking of the witch hunters, here is the witch hunter's retinue. This is Ezekiel Wormwood. He is the sanctioned witch hunter, and he's the leader of this band. And so he has chainmail, he has a pike, he has 2 vials of holy water, which will burn a witch pretty good. He has skills like Hero, which allows him to ignore damage once per game. He is a leader, which keeps friendly models from having to make a coward roll at certain times during the game. He's a zealot, which means he's pretty good when fighting witches or summoned monsters. He's an expert fighter, which also gives him a combat bonus. And he has knowledge, which means he gets a 5+ save versus spells. So he's got a little bit of magic resistance. His apprentice is Brother Ichabod, and he's got leather armor, a flintlock pistol, which is 6-inch range, does 1 damage, but requires a reload after it fires. He has a sword, which gives him +1 attack and +1 defense, and he has 1 vial of holy water. And his main skill as an apprentice is if he sticks pretty close to the main witch hunter, then he gets skills like Zealot and Expert Fighter as well, if he's in close proximity. So the witch hunters are backed up by a couple of mercenaries. This is Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition, and he's a pretty tough guy. He's got a great sword, which does +2 attack and 2 damage, which is twice what a normal sword does. He also has plate mail, which slows him down quite a bit, but provides a lot of damage resistance. His buddy here is Baron Gerlock, and he is one of the King's Fusiliers. And normally a mercenary in this game would get Expert Fighter, but because Baron Gerlach has a rifle, we're going to give him Marksmanship instead, which gives him a +1 to hit when he's shooting. And the Baron is supported by his loyal hunting dog, Ajax, and as long as Ajax is within 8 inches of the Baron can control him and make him attack people or run around or basically just be there for moral support. Maybe he is a witch hunter's therapy dog. We don't know. And finally, we have what we call the Filth Brothers. That's a couple of cutthroats from a local town. They were in jail, and the witch hunter said, "Hey, how'd you like to work for the government?" So they broke them out of jail. These guys are basically just knife fighters. Other attributes that these models have, they're going to determine how they function in the game, are going to be things like movement, shooting skill, the number of combat dice they get, obviously the number of hit points they have, the number of activation tokens they contribute to the pool, individual skills that they've been allocated, and stuff like that. There's also rules for talismans and potions and things like that in the game. For some scenarios, if you want to have lanterns or ropes or grapple hooks or manacles or things like that, there's rules for that as well. We're not going to feature those in this demo game here. But if you take a look at the rule set, you'll see that there's a lot of different things you can do to make sort of a narrative game with a story and have your guys running, jumping, climbing, swimming, falling, and doing all kinds of things. And with that, we hope you enjoy our demo game of Witchin Hour from Patrick St. Nicholas out of Holland. So we're going to start by rolling. Lynn and I played a practice game, and she was the witch hunters and I was the witches. But this game, we're going to roll randomly to determine who plays who. And then we'll show you sort of the unique mechanic this game has for setup. It's something I haven't seen before. Probably other games incorporate something similar, but this is my first experience with it, so I think you'll find it kind of neat. All right, so the high roll plays the Witch Hunters. I'm rolling the blue die. Okay, so that means you're going to be playing the Witch Hunters, and I'm going to be playing the Witches again. So I will go over by my side of the table, which is the ancient temple, which the Witches are trying to rebuild, and you can be on the opposite side, and we'll do our setup. As I mentioned earlier, each team has a pool of action tokens that are basically determined by the number of tokens each model has, whatever their value has. And as the models are whittled down, as they die, this pool gets smaller. So the number of tokens that a player has to spend on things gets smaller and smaller as the game continues. So each team is going to get one setup marker for each 5 models that it has, with a minimum of 2. Since we're playing a smaller game, we're going to have a minimum of 2 setup tokens. So we start by each placing 2 deployment tokens on our edge somewhere, and then we're going to roll for initiative, and then we're going to be able to use action tokens to sort of move those deployment tokens around. And then once that's all settled, we're actually going to deploy our forces around those tokens. So we don't know quite yet where everyone's going to be deployed. So here we'll give Lynn a couple of deployment tokens, and you can place those on your edge wherever you want. And then I'm going to use these. I'm going to place these on my edge wherever I want. And then we're going to use our action tokens. We're going to spend them to move those tokens around.
And you start out with 13 and I start out with 10.
That's right. The Witches have a few more tokens at the beginning of the game, though the last time we played, they got whittled down pretty quickly. I'm just going to keep this simple. I'm going to place 1 token here, 1 token here, and you're just kind of placing yours on the edge here as well. Then we make an initiative roll. I got a 6. You got a 2. So I have initiative. Now that I want initiative, I can pick one of my deployment markers, and I can spend activation tokens to move it up to 2 inches per activation token. So I can move this around. Now when I'm out of tokens, I'm going to move 1, she's going to move 1, I'm going to move 1 again, she's going to move 1. And when we're finally out of tokens, then that's it. Then we're deployed. So you got to decide how many we want to spend and when. I'm going to spend 3 now and move this one 6.
I guess I'll do the same thing.
Okay.
And move this one 6.
Okay, so you're spending 3.
Mm-hmm.
Now I'm going to spend an additional 4, which means I can move this one up to 8. Okay.
I'm going to spend 2 and move this one 4.
All right, I'm going to spend 2 more. Move this guy another 4, which brings me kind of up to there.
I'm going to spend 2 and move that one 4.
And I'll spend 2 more to move this one kind of over there by the wall. And what's going on your side? Are you happy with what you got?
I'll spend another 2 and move them 4.
Okay. And I think I'm good.
I'm going to take this 1 token and move him another 2.
Okay.
Which puts him right there.
All right. So now before we start the first round, the player with initiative, that's me, places all of his models of his warband on the table within 2 inches of the center from any deployment tokens. So I'm going to deploy all my guys first, then you deploy all yours, then we roll for initiative and start the game. So we're going to put the Supreme Witch right there, and we're going to try to keep some people close to her, because if she has some of the vulnerable guys, some of the guys who are likely to succumb to cowardice around her, they don't need to make a coward test when the time comes. So we'll give her the support of a couple of lowly cultists here. They have to be within 2 inches of the marker. And then put that bowman right there. Then on this side of the board, we'll have our 2 acolytes and the cult leader, the head cultist, Maximilian. And I guess that'll be my deployment. Okay, so I guess it's time to deploy the witch hunters.
So Ezekiel we're going to put over here.
Ezekiel Wormwood, sanctioned witch hunter.
And the apprentice is going to join him.
If the apprentice stays close to Ezekiel, he gets the benefit of zealot and being an experienced fighter. I guess if he's further away from the witch hunter, he loses his nerve.
Then the little dudes.
The Filth Brothers.
The Filth Brothers.
Is that Maggot or Shiv? Maggot and Shiv.
Maggot and Shiv, I think, are both going to come over here.
They're twins.
Yeah. And then the other two.
So Baron Gerlock, and he
Baron
has to have
and his dog.
Baron and Ajax.
And my plate mail wielding dude.
And,
which is...
That is Sir Ronan,
Sir
Sword of the
Ronan.
Inquisition.
And Baron
Gerlach.
Gerlach with his trusty hunting dog, Ajax.
He's part of the King's Riflemen. He's also a freelance werewolf hunter on the side. So he's been sequestered into this mission.
And they start out with their weapons loaded, obviously, when they come in.
Right. So his musket is loaded. The apprentice's flintlock pistol is loaded, but they require one action to reload after they shoot them. Okay, now it's time for the witch hunters and the witch's coven to determine who has initiative.
I really need initiative on this one.
Right. Okay, especially with missile weapons. A bow has a range of about 18 inches. The musket has one of about 20 inches. The flintlock pistol has about 6 inches. The throwing knives are about 4, and then a lot of the spells are between 4 and 6 inches. So if you can get in close and get an action off, if you can bid and have that bid hold, you can get your shot off basically and start taking out the enemy. All right, we're going to roll for initiative here by the Sacred Fountain. I'm rolling the red dice for the witches. I have a 3, and you have a 3. Roll again. 2, 4. Okay, so the witch hunters have initiative for the first round, which means the next turn I get initiative.
Correct.
So if this was a turn in the middle of the game and somebody had been killed in the previous turn, we would have to look to see if any people needed to make a coward check. But this is the first turn, so that hasn't happened. I guess you're going to pick a unit to activate and make a bid on that, and then see if I choose to make a higher bid to react to it. Okay, so who do you want to activate first?
I'm going to activate Baron Gerlach with 1 activation token.
Okay, so here's how this is going to work. You activate him with 1. If I choose not to respond, if I don't counter bid with at least 2, then you can just go ahead and move him to his 2 actions, which could be move and fire, aim and fire, fire and reload, move and move, stuff like that. Combat takes place after all the actions take place. If someone's in base-to-base with an enemy, then combat takes place.
Yeah, close combat.
Close combat, right. But I have the opportunity now. I could bid 2 action tokens. I might just call them chips sometimes for the sake of keeping things simple. But if I outbid you, if I bid 2, then one of my models gets to move basically before you do, and maybe shoot at you, maybe do a spell, maybe do something like that. So I think I might very well bid 2 because I don't want you just using your rifle to take pot shots at my witches. Now the caveat is somebody who's going to react to you has to be able to see you. So line of sight and cover. If a model is 50% covered, then it gets a cover bonus for missile weapon fire. If you can see any part of his body, not his base, but his hand or his head or his feet or anything like that, then he's still in line of sight. So I think that is technically in line of sight. She can see him. So Hester is going to bid 2 activation tokens, 2 chips, and she's going to react. She's going to move before Baron does.
And each model can activate as many as 3 times.
Yeah, during a turn, you can just keep activating the same model up to 3 times, exactly. And I think what she's actually going to do is she's going to come up here and just kind of hug this rock. So she could take 2 actions, but at this point she's going to just take 1 action and hug that rock. So that is my 2 chips. That's my reaction to Baron Gerlach. She made her reaction. Now Baron Gerlach gets to do his 2 actions.
So Baron Gerlach is going to shoot at your cult leader.
Okay. So Baron is going to take his 2 actions now, but because he has the hunting dog with him, that has to take its 1 movement. Now it doesn't have to move, but if you're going to move it somewhere, then now's the time to do it.
Yep. Ajax has a move of 8.
Okay, he gets right in there. All I see is eyes and teeth.
And then Baron Gerlach is going to shoot at Maximilian, your cult leader.
Okay. So he's shooting over there.
And it's got a 20-inch
His
range,
range
so
is
he's
20. Okay, so Baron Gerlach, with shooting, he just has to roll over a certain amount. He basically has a base roll of 4+. He gets +1 because of marksmanship, so that's 3+. If there was other factors like cover, or if one of these characters was very small or very large, or if they had moved just prior to being shot at, then that would also affect. But right now it's just a basic 3+. So basically 2, and you missed.
Missed.
Path.
Okay. Since I missed, you now ducked out of the way, so now you got to see if you fall in the process of ducking.
Yeah, there is a rule called go to ground, where if you're shot at and it misses, you have to make a roll to see if you basically are paralyzed for the moment because you ducked behind a bush or basically were startled. So the cult leader needs to roll a 4, 5, or 6 to be fine. If he rolls a 1, 2, or 3, then I have to lay him down, and the next time he activates, he'll be fine. But he basically, dove into the flower bed when the bullet was whooshing by his head. 5, so he's fine.
And then I'm going to reload.
And then you're going to reload. Okay.
So I'm going to use these blue tokens to show that he's activated once.
Okay. So you spent 1 activation token, that leaves you another 9, right?
Right.
Okay.
I am going to activate Baron Gerlach again with 1.
All right, very good. All right, I'm going to spend 2 tokens to react to that.
Okay.
And that's going to be for Maximilian, the cult leader.
Okay.
He is going to basically go forward and engage with Ajax, the hunting dog. So you can still shoot him.
Well, I can shoot your witch, too.
You can shoot the witch.
She does get cover this time, though.
But if you were to shoot Maximilian, then you'd have to have a chance of hitting your dog.
So my dog can't move now that he's in close combat.
Yeah, that's correct. So now that these guys are in base-to-base combat, or base-to-base contact, they're going to be in combat in the combat phase. But depending on how that goes, if your dog was defending and actually won, then he could counterattack, or he could run off and break out of, close combat. But we'll explain that when that comes up here in a minute. But for now, yeah, you're locked in combat.
So Baron Gerlach is going to shoot at Sabine.
Okay, so Sabrine is over here. That is the blonde witch. All right.
And you get cover.
We get cover, so that's a -1.
So 4+ to hit. A
And
1. That's a fail.
Yeah, not only is that an automatic fail, but because you're using a missile weapon, it's a misfire.
So I have to use 2 activations to reload.
Yeah, you need to clean out the barrel and then reload. So,
So he's going to clean out the barrel.
okay. All right, who's your next bid?
So for my next activation, I'm going to use 1 token to activate Brother Ichabod.
I'm going to have to outbid you on that one. I'm going to run out of tokens here pretty soon, but I'm going to bid 2 on the archer. And so he is going to move 4 inches that way and shoot at one of the Filth brothers. I don't know if that's Maggot or Shiv, but he's going to shoot at him with his bow. So he's right here. He's going to shoot at one of the Filth brothers. That's one of the cutthroats. These guys would be the equivalent of town militia. There's actually a unit that's lower than these. That's just regular townspeople. So the bowman is going to need a 4+ to shoot that guy. And I got a 1. It was slightly cocked. We're still going to count it as a 1. So that is misfire. So now he's got to re-knock his bow. I will mark that with this.
All right.
To remind me that he needs to reload. So this was the 2 that I spent to react to you. And I guess you get to do your thing now.
Yeah, let's see if I'm in range or if I have to move. Because I think he's only got a 6-inch range.
Yeah, I think his flintlock pistol only has a 6-inch range.
Yes, it does. So he is going to move just slightly up here.
Okay.
And then he is going to fire at the archer.
All right. Now the archer did move, so that gives you a -1 on your shot. I believe he moved at least 4. So your normal shooting skill is 4+. You have a -1 because your target was basically moving. So 5+. 1. Misfire.
Okay, I think we should throw out the guns. So I need to do 2 activations to be able to use him again.
Right, to clean out your flintlock and reload it. So you moved, you shot, now your gun is basically misfired.
It is worthless at the moment.
Okay.
Okay.
So who's the next person you're going to bid on?
Well, obviously not someone with a gun, because they're worthless.
Keep your powder dry.
Yeah, I guess.
Is the moral of that story. I have 7 tokens left to react to what you're doing. Okay, what are your thoughts on your next activation?
I'm going to activate a Filth Brother.
So one of these guys.
Yep.
Okay, that dude back there, I'm not going to try to outbid you on that one.
So he's going to move 10.
Okay. So his regular movement is 5. You moved him and moved him again, and so he's moving toward that melee.
I'm going to activate the other Filth Brother.
All right.
With 1.
I'm going to bid 2.
Okay.
And that's going to be for this guy with the Morning Star here. He is a lowly cultist wearing rags. He only has 1 hit point, but he does have a long, heavy Morning Star, which is a 2-handed weapon. His movement is only 5, but that still gives him an opportunity to run forward and engage the Witch Hunter Apprentice.
He's going to enter combat too.
Okay. So he ran up and engaged with the Witch Hunter, and then this Filth Brother piled into the melee. So when the time comes, when the combat phase comes, they're all fighting together. So how many activation chips do you have left?
I have 4.
You have 4. Okay, and then so your next activation?
I'm going to activate this Filth Brother here.
Okay. Okay, so she's going to bid 2. And where was the Filth Brother who's just activated? Okay. She's going to run around here. So she's just going to kind of run around behind this rock. And so do your thing.
Okay, he's going to help the dog out.
He's going to pile into that melee.
Yeah.
So the 2 acolytes are kind of hiding behind this boulder to shield him from musket fire and sort of reserving their magic for an opportune moment. So over on this side, a filthy cultist has engaged the apprentice witch hunter, and one of the cutthroats has dived in to help with the oncoming melee. Okay, who's next on your docket?
I'm going to use 1 chip and activate Sir Ronan.
Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition?
Yes.
Go ahead. Go forth, Sir Ronan. Do your good works. He only moves 4 per action because he's weighted down by plate mail, but that makes him almost impervious in close combat. Marching forward. 4 and then another 4.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Sir Ronan is coming around the mountain. All right, how many chips do you have left for activation?
3.
3, all right. So remember, if you spend all your chips and I still have some left, then I can activate some of my folks who aren't in close combat. And you don't have to spend all your chips. You could say, you know what, I'm going to stop for right now, and then hand it over to me, and then I could activate some of mine with chips I have left, and you could react to those. Okay?
I'm going to activate Sir Ronan with 1.
Okay, I'm going to have to outbid you on that one. So I'm going to bid 2. Sabine right here is going to cast Inflict Pain on Sir Ronan.
Mm-hmm.
So that inflicts 1 point of damage, but your plate mail can deflect that.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the save from your plate mail?
5+.
5+. 6. All right.
So you cannot use that spell again.
That's right. She used her spell Inflict Pain, but because he was wearing heavy plate mail, it didn't go through. So good for Sir Ronan. And for her second action, she is going to move 5 inches that way. Okay. So he's going to engage with
Hester.
So Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition, lumbered up, is now engaged with Hester, one of the acolytes of the Supreme Witch, Desdenova. Okay, so a lot of people getting engaged in close combat. So how many chips do you have left?
2.
2. I have 1.
So if I used 2 now,
Right.
you could use that one afterwards.
If you spent 2 now, then I could activate 1 person at the end. So the people you have who are not currently engaged in close combat, the Witch Hunter and Baron Gerlock.
So ideally I should have used 2, so you would have had to use 3. That would have
Yeah.
been the ideal thing.
Yeah, there is a little bit of planning involved. I haven't quite figured it out yet on how you spend your chips. So you could have forced me to spend more if I wanted to react. And now, as it turns out, I'm going to end up with a chip at the end.
Yep. All right, I'm going to activate Ezekiel. Just to put him within 1 inch.
Sanctioned Witch Hunter. So because he has a pike, he can participate in close combat from 1 inch away. This wasn't really spelled out in the beta rules, but the way we're interpreting that is if he engages with someone from 1 inch away with a pike, with a long weapon, and they don't have a long weapon to engage back, they can still defend, but they can't counterattack if he's 1 inch away. But also, he can't by himself hold someone in close combat at 1 inches away. If he's base to base, he can, but if he's jabbing at them from 1 inch away, then they don't have the same close combat restrictions that keeps them locked in. So that's the way we're doing it. Whether that's right or wrong, I don't know. Okay, so Ezekiel, Sanctioned Witch Hunter, Ezekiel Wormwood, has entered that fray, that melee there. So you have 1 chip left, and the only person not engaged in close combat is Baron Gerlach. So are you going to activate him his 3rd time?
Yep, may as well.
Okay.
He's got a movement of 6. So I am going to move him 6
All right.
and reload his weapon.
Okay. So he was really hoping to be picking off cultists and witches all this time, but an inopportune misfire has set his plans back. Okay, so that leaves me with 1 chip, so I can activate 1 model, and then we go to combat, and then we go to the next turn, and then it's my initiative in the next turn. Okay, so for my 1 chip that I have left over, I'm going to go ahead and activate Desdenova, and she is going to cast a spell, Summon Large Monster. So it pops up 4 inches away, so right about like that. It's going to take its 1 move and move 6 inches this way. And that is my last chip. So now we go to combat. So one thing we should have been keeping track of is who entered combat, who initiated it. So I believe it was Sir Ronan attacked the witch, right? The cult leader attacked the dog. The cultists attacked the apprentice. Is that about right?
Yep.
Okay, we're going to start with this combat over here. Sir Ronan is battling Hester. Hester has 2 combat dice, and Sir Ronan has 3. And Sir Ronan gets a +2 on his attack because of his greatsword, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I have 2 dice. You have 3 dice. But we're going to hide what we have in our right hand and then reveal it together. So you can attack with 1, 2, or 3 dice, and I can defend with 1 or 2 dice. If I have dice, I have to use them. If I use them all, and then you still have attack dice left, you can attack, but I won't have anything to defend with, so my roll will be an automatic 1, because I won't have any dice to defend with. You get a modifier +2 on your attack because of your greatsword. I don't have any armor or anything, so I just have to beat you. Okay, I'm ready.
Mm-hmm.
1, so you win.
So it's 2
You
points.
got a 5.
2 points of damage.
Okay, so you got a 5. You +2 is 7, so you beat my 1. So your greatsword does 2 points of damage. So that takes her down from 3 to 1. So that's bad news for Hester. Okay.
I'm going to attack again.
All right, and I have 1 die left. 5.
7.
And you won again. You did another 2. Sword of the Inquisition cleaves an acolyte. So she's gone. Yeah, that's a pretty big win for Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition.
Because that takes away 3 activation tokens. So
It
now
does
we're-
eliminate 3 activation tokens because that's what she contributed to the pool. So now I'm down to 10. Now I'm equal to what you are. Okay, our next combat is going to be here. We have the cult leader attacking the dog, and the dog is supported by one of the Filth brothers. And I don't know, is that Maggot or Shiv? Do we know?
We don't know.
They're
We
twins.
can't tell them apart.
They don't even know. The cult leader Maximilian has 2 combat dice. He has a great sword, which gives him +2 on his attack roll.
Does it do more than 1 damage, or does it?
It does 2 points of damage. It's just like your great sword. We also have to decide, now that it's a melee, who's fighting. I have only 1 guy to fight, but you could decide who you want to...
The dog.
Okay, the dog. Okay, the Filth Brother has 2 combat dice. The dog has what?
2.
2. So you have 4 combat dice. I have 2. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
2. Okay, so I got 2 plus 2 is 4. You have 5, I think at least +1. So you won. So you have an option now. You can either disengage or counterattack.
Counterattack.
Okay. So the dog is counter. So he gets a +1.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. 3. 4. Okay, we may have screwed up a little bit on the last one, but I don't think it affected the outcome. So when you're attacking, your attack bonus is what you add to your die roll. If you're defending, your defense bonus is what you add to your die roll. So in this case, I rolled a 3. I have padded armor, so I have a total of 4. I got a +1 for the padded armor. The dog rolled a 4, +1 for teeth, so he got a 5. So you won, so you do 1 point of damage to the cultist, which brings him down to 1. So that is that combat.
Mm-hmm. Now
So
we have this one.
Things are looking good for the witch hunters. We're working with some beta rules, and we may have an imperfect understanding of them. But her question is, can she decide to choose the witch hunter as the person who is fighting? So basically, out of all the guys who pile into the melee, you pool all their combat dice into the combat pool. And then you decide which one of them is actually doing the fighting. So in this case, she wants to choose the witch hunter even though he's 1 inch away. And I don't see why you couldn't. I mean, maybe that's wrong, but that's the way we're doing it right now. So in your case, the witch hunter is fighting the cultist there. So as we add it all up, so the cultist here has 2 combat dice. Filth Brother has 2. Brother Ichabod, the apprentice, has how many?
2.
2. And Ezekiel has 5. So that's 9 versus 2. So you have a pool of 9 to work with, and I only have 2. Now I am attacking, and I am attacking with a 2-handed weapon, which gives him +2 on his combat die roll.
And I have chainmail.
So I have a +2 on my combat die roll. Your defense is +3. Are you ready to roll?
Mm-hmm.
I got a 5, and you beat me. So you won combat, so you can counterattack or move away.
I will counterattack.
Okay, I've used all my dice. He's only got 1 hit point. He's a lowly cultist.
Oh, so I may as well
Wearing-
just use them all.
Wearing rags. Okay. What'd you get? A 6. Okay, so 6 plus 1 for your pike, plus another 1 for being a combat expert. So that's 8. Yeah, he's not. If you were fighting a witch, you'd get another +1 because you're a zealot. But anyway, that's more than enough to do 1 point of damage and basically run through that poor little cultist. All right, so 1 witch and 1 cultist down to the forces of the witch hunter.
So how many tokens was he worth? Just 1?
He was worth 1. So that brings me down to 9. Okay, so that is the combat phase. So we're going to go into the next turn. In the next turn, I'm going to have initiative. But the first thing we have to do is the coward check. And it's kind of bad news for the witches because we lost a witch and a cultist. So everybody from the witch on down, everyone whose point value is from the witch on down, has to make a coward check. But fortunately, the witch is the leader, and anyone within 8 inches of her doesn't have to make a coward check. So these guys are all fine. Okay, so these guys don't have to make a coward check, which is good. Over on this side of the board, we have Sabrine, who is going to have to make one. And then we have the cult leader up here who's in combat. And while it doesn't clarify in the beta rules, we've kind of decided that if you're locked in combat, then you can't just break out of it. So
You're too busy worrying about your own skin to pay attention to anybody else's.
that's right. You're not yet aware that somebody else has died. So Sabine is going to make a coward check. Her coward score is 2, so she's got to get higher than a 2 to stay not scared. And I rolled a 4, so she's fine. When your boss is kind of demonic, yeah, you learn how to operate under pressure. So now it's my activation. I get to activate some people, and I'm down to just 9 activation chips from a high of 13. So you've been whittling me down. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to activate Sabine. I'm going to activate her with 3. I'm going to use 3 chips to activate her. You're going to spend 4.
I'm going to spend 4.
Okay. For who?
Sir Ronan.
Okay, for Sir Ronan.
Where's my other token? There it is.
Brave, 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 brave Sir Ronan. Is that it?
Yeah.
Okay, so Sabine bid 3 activation chips to activate, and then Sir Ronan outbid her with 4, and so he's going to react before she does her thing. Okay, so he's going to rush up and engage her in combat. All right.
So is she going to do anything?
Yeah, not much she can do right now. She doesn't have any kind of skill or spell that she can activate. So for the moment, she is just going to have to stay there and wait for the combat phase. Okay, for my next activation, I'm going to spend 3 tokens and activate Desdenova, the Supreme Witch.
Go for it.
She's going to move up about to here. And she is going to Thunderbolt the Apprentice.
So he gets a +6 save.
Okay, I'm going to roll it right around there. 5. And he does not save, so he's struck with a 2-point Thunderbolt.
Okay.
How many hit points did he have? 3?
Oh no, he's dead.
Okay.
What good is that? How come he only has 2?
Because he's just an apprentice.
I only lose 1 activation token for him.
Since Desdenova activated, our monster gets to activate 2. He is going to pile in to this combat here. Make a fine mess out of that. Okay, so I have 3 chips left. You have 5 left.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bid 1 to activate that archer. He's got to deal with his misfire.
Yeah, but he can still reload and shoot.
Yeah.
You have 3 left, right?
I have 2 in my hand that are left. I just spent 1 for that archer.
I'm going to spend 2
Okay.
on the Filth Brother.
Spend 2 on the Filth Brother.
And move him up here into close combat.
Okay. So now that the archer is in base to base, he only gets 1 action. And I guess he'll just, he'll fix his misfire. Okay, I have 2 tokens left. I'm going to use 1 to activate this cultist.
Okay.
Do you want to respond?
No.
Okay. He is going to move 5. And I guess 1 to go over the rock. And pile in to that close combat. So that's a whole bunch of people there. Mm-hmm. And then I have 1 left. And I'm going to activate Desdenova again. If you're going to respond to Desdenova, you have to have someone who can see her. But I guess Baron Gerlach could do it way over on the other side.
Mm-hmm. I will respond with him.
Okay. I mean, he probably could too, but that's what you want to do?
Mm-hmm.
So Baron Gerlach is going to respond to Desdenova's activation with 2 chips. So what are you going to do?
Wait and see what you do.
Wait and see what I do, which is allowed. Okay, first thing she's going to do is she's going to spread blackroot poison on her dagger.
Okay.
That's 1 action. And then she's going to move.
Before you move, I'm going to shoot you.
Okay. So he's right here, and he's going to try to shoot her way over there, right? Yeah, you're within range. Okay. She's going to get cover.
Or I can move so I can see her better. Yeah, that'll get me better. So I can see her without anything in the way. So then it's 3+.
2. You missed.
Missed. All right. So now you got to see if you fall over.
Oh, okay. That's right. So she wants to get a 4, 5, or 6. She does not want a 1, 2, or 3. 4. So she's fine.
Okay.
So the shot went whizzing past her horns, but she's unfazed. So she smeared poison on her dagger. Now she's going to go erp, erp, and engage with the Witch Hunter.
Okay. And I have 1 activation left.
Right.
Since no one's not in combat, I'm going to activate him.
Okay, so you're activating Ezekiel, Wormwood, the Witch Hunter, and because he's now in base to base, he can do 1 activation, but basically activate a talisman or do a spell or something like that. So
throw holy water in her face.
throw holy water on her. He's got 2 vials of holy water. How many hit points does she have?
4, I think.
4. That brings her down to 3. And now we go to the combat phase. Okay, so let's start over here. That's Sir Ronan and Sabrine. She has 2 combat dice. She has a dagger. And you're attacking her, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
I have 3 combat dice.
All right. 3. Okay, so you got her. You did 2 points. So that takes her down to 1. You're going to attack again, I presume. 6. So I won, which allows me to move.
Away.
So she's going to go over here and join this one. So right here, we have this massive combat. And because it's an ongoing combat, even though people have piled in, and because it's my initiative, then I'm the one who's attacking. So I'm going to choose the monster to be the attacker. And you've only got 1 guy in there. You've got one of the Filth Brothers.
And I've got the dog.
Oh, the dog. You had the Filth Brother and the dog. Okay, that's cool. So I have Sabrine has 2 combat dice. The cult leader has 2. The monster has 4. So that's a total of 8. You have 2 and 2, I believe, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so you got a couple of 5s. I got a couple of 6s. The monster is +2.
Well then. Okay.
Oh, okay. So that's the end of the dog.
Because I think he only has 1 hit point.
And I have 4 more dice, which I'm going to use for another attack.
Okay.
And I got a 5, a 6, a 7. So that is 1 point off of the Filth Brother.
Mm-hmm.
So that is that combat. Next we have this combat here. So I have 2 attack dice for this guy, 2 attack dice for the other cultist. I'm going to have to make the spearman be the attacker because the bowman only has his little meaty fists to fight with. So I have 4 attack dice versus your 2, is that right? The spear gives him a +1 on his roll. So I got a 6, 7.
Okay.
So that does 1 point.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to go again. Do you have any dice?
Nope.
Okay, you used them all.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another point. And then finally we have the Battle of the Titans. That is the Supreme Witch versus the Witch Hunter. She has spread blackroot poison on her dagger, so for 1 round she gets +2 on her attack rolls. On defense, you get +3 because of your chainmail. I have 4 combat dice, and you have 5. I got 8, and you got 9 because of your chainmail, so you actually won. So you can counterattack or run away.
I can counterattack.
You can. So for counterattack, you get +1 for your spear, +1 for being a zealot fighting a witch, and +1 for being an expert fighter. And she gets basically nothing. So 6. And so you won.
Yes.
You got an 8 versus her 6. So you do another point of damage.
Yep.
Because she's a hero, she can ignore damage once per game. So I'm going to ignore that and take her back up to 3.
Do you have any dice left?
I don't.
Okay.
And you attacked again, and I don't have any dice left to defend with, so my roll is automatically a 1. So then you bring her down to 2. And I think that is the end of that turn.
It is.
Okay, so it's a new turn. You get initiative. Who died last turn? I forget. We kind of forgot if one of our cultists died last turn or not, but these are within 8 inches of her anyway, so they don't have to make a cowardice roll, and everyone else is in combat. So
I had my apprentice, I had a bunch of people die.
Okay, so your apprentice, what is your raw point value for your apprentice? The apprentice is only a 2-point guy.
Okay, what are the henchmen?
And the henchmen, the mercenaries, are 3 points.
Oh, so I don't
he's
have
less
to.
points than the mercenaries. So
I don't have to.
You don't have to worry about them
Okay.
making a coward check. So I have, let me just kind of take stock of what I have. 9. I have 9 tokens based on my characters who are still alive.
I have 8.
Well, what do you think you're going to be doing this turn? So the 2 guys roaming wild and free right now are Sir Ronan and Baron Gerlach, and everyone else is locked in combat.
So I am going to activate Baron.
Okay. I'll spend 2
Okay.
on an archer
Okay. What are you going to
to
do?
counter that.
Okay.
This archer is going to move 5, and hopefully that puts him within 18. And then he will loose an arrow. His shooting skill is only 4+, so 4, 5, or 6. 2, he misses. But you have to make a roll to see if you go to ground. So you want a 4, 5, or 6 to stand up. And you do.
Okay.
All right.
So I am going to reload
Reload.
and shoot the archer.
Shoot the archer.
Mm-hmm.
So the archer has moved more than 4, so that makes him a moving target. So that's a -1, which cancels out your marksmanship.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a 4, 5, or 6.
Yep.
4, you got him. And that is the end of the cultist archer. Path.
Okay.
Musket shot right to the chest.
Okay, I am going to activate him again.
Okay. To react to it, you have to be able to at least see them, and I don't think you can. So go forth and do what you will.
Yes, his movement is 6, and he's going to reload.
Okay. Baron Gerlock is on the move.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And you still have activation tokens. So
Mm-hmm. So I'm going to activate him again with 1.
okay.
Are you going to
And
counter it this time?
so I think this little cultist guy can see you now, so he is going to counter with 2, and he is going to get into this combat with the witch hunter. So he's going to pile into this combat with the witch hunter and the supreme witch, and see if he can help out a little bit.
Okay.
Okay, so then what's Gerlach going to do?
He's going to pile in here.
Okay, so he's running in with his rifle butt. Okay, so it's a big brouhaha. The Baron, the Witch Hunter, the Cultist, and the Supreme Witch. Still got lots of activations.
So you don't have any activations left that you can do, right?
I
can't activate.
I have lots of chips. I can't move around, but I can still cause some wickedness. Okay, so you're activating Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition.
And
And
he's
he's
going
going to pile in
pile in.
to the big thing, to
Yeah,
the big
he's
pile.
gonna pile
Well, that'll
into it.
resolve something. We should see some sort of swift resolution to all that's going on in there. Okay, and you have chips left, so then next.
I'm going to activate my Witch Hunter and splash holy water in.
Okay, before you do that,
Yeah.
I'm going to outbid you,
Okay.
and I'm going to activate the Supreme Witch, and she's going to cast Evil Eye on the Witch Hunter, which means he gets -1 on defense for this round. So you splash holy water on her.
Uh-huh.
That brings her down to
1.
1. And is that everybody?
What's everyone that I can
Okay.
activate?
I have 2 tokens left. I don't think there's anything I can do, really. Okay, so Lynn pointed out and reminded me, and that's nice of her, that Sabine has a heal spell, and so she's going to cast it on herself to raise her up to 2, so that might help. And that is the last of my chips. I don't think I have anybody else who can really do anything.
Okay, so now we go into combat.
Now we go into combat.
And since everyone was already in combat, I'm attacking.
Right. It's your initiative, so you're attacking. So let me add up all my dice here. I think I have 2, 4, 8. I think I have 8. The monster is my combatant. Who's your combatant? The
Sir
knight.
Ronan.
Sir Ronan. Okay.
Mhm.
So you must have a total of 5 dice?
So Ronan has 3, so I have 5.
Okay. So you got 5. I got 8. You have your sword, which gives you a +2. The monster gets a +2 on defense. So I got a 6. You have an 8, so you won. So you did a point.
2 points.
2
He's got a
points.
great sword.
2 points from the great sword to the monster. So that was a solid hit. How many dice did you roll?
3.
3. You're going to go again?
Mm-hmm.
All right. 6, 7, 8. I think he's got +3 because isn't he expert combatant?
Oh, yeah. So it's a wash?
8 versus 8, yeah. So the Sir Ronan has +2 for his sword and +1 additional because he's an expert combatant. Okay. So that's an 8 and an 8. That's a wash,
so you can't
which is lucky because then I don't get to counterattack.
Correct. It would have been better if it would have hit, though, because then your big monster would have been dead.
Well, better for you, I guess.
Yes, way better for me.
Better for thee, not better for me. Then the big fight over here between the Supreme Witch, the Witch Hunter, Baron Gerlock, and a nameless, faceless cultist. I have a total of 6 combat dice. I think I'm going to have the cultist attack, or be the combatant. So the Witch Hunter gets +1 for the spear. He gets +1 for being an expert combatant. But he doesn't get +1 for zealot, because that's just a lowly cultist and not a witch or a monster. Are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I got 7.
So you win.
Okay.
So are you going to counterattack? Or are you going to run away?
I'm going to counterattack.
Okay.
I get a +1. And I got a 5.
And I got a 7.
7. So you were victorious.
Okay.
So you can counterattack if you have any dice left.
I have 2.
2. And a 4. Since he doesn't have any defense dice, that is an automatic 1 for him, so he's dead. And with him goes 1 activation chip. So
Okay.
3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So you have 8, I have 7.
Okay.
All right.
But it's your activation.
It's my activation. I'm going to spend 5
Okay.
to activate the witch.
Okay.
So she's going to activate, and she's going to use her evil eye, which is a skill, not a spell,
Yeah.
to give him
Minus
minus
2.
1 defense.
Okay.
And then, I guess that's it, huh? Everyone else is in combat.
Yep.
Okay. So she has, how many combat dice? 4, I think. And you have how many? You have like 6.
I have 7.
7. All right. Here she's attacking.
He's
Yeah.
okay. So I've got -1 for defense, right?
Right. Chainmail goes in +3.
Yeah.
-1 for the evil eye, so that's +2. You rolled a 5, that's a 7. She has a 6, +1 for the dagger is a 7, so that's a wash.
Okay.
All right.
Are you going to attack again?
I used all my dice.
Oh, okay. So I can't attack.
Now, had you won,
Then
you
I
could have
could've-
counterattacked with your
and
dice.
killed her, yeah.
So-
And killed her. Yep.
That's interesting.
Okay. So now we're over here.
Okay. Here's the other big fight. I get 4 for the monster, 2 for the witch, 2 for the cultist. So that's 8. I got 8 dice total. And you get probably 5, right? 3 for the knight and 2 for the thug.
Yes.
Okay. And who's going to be your combatant?
The knight.
The knight. The monster is going to be mine.
I figured. So Sir Ronan gets +4 on defense.
Okay. And the monster gets +2 on attack. All right. Are we ready? I got a 6.
I got a 5.
+4 is 9.
9,
right?
yeah.
So 9 versus my 6. So you won.
Uh-huh.
So are you going to run away or counterattack? Or neither?
How many dice do you have left?
4.
Okay, so my question is, if I counterattack and use all my dice, can you reattack if I win?
Okay, that's a good question. If you counterattack and I don't roll all my dice to defend and I still have dice left, yeah, I can attack again.
Okay,
You could counterattack with just 1 die.
I could. Okay, I'll counterattack.
All right. So he's attacking with a sword. That's +2. Plus he's got combat skill. So that is +3. So you got a 6 versus my 4. So you won. So you do 2 points to the monster and you kill it. I still have 2 dice.
Okay,
Do you have any dice left?
yes.
The cult leader is going to attack Sir Ronan. He gets +2 because of his great sword.
He gets +4 for defense.
So Here we go. I got
So I
a
have
6. Okay, so you won.
I could run away, or I could just keep you in combat.
Do you have any dice left?
No, but
Okay.
I won, so
Okay.
I can either run away or stay in combat.
Right.
I think I will stay in combat.
Okay. So that is the end of that turn.
Yep, so now it's my activation. I don't have anything I can do. Do you have any spells you can cast or anything you can do?
The only thing I can do is Evil Eye.
Okay, so that's -1 to defense.
-1 to your defense. So the Supreme Witch can cast Evil Eye. It's not a spell. Can use her Evil Gaze on the Witch Hunter to give him -1 on defense.
Okay, so
it's your initiative. You don't have any actions you can take within combat in this new turn. I guess we go right into combat.
Yep.
Which combat do you want to do?
That one.
Okay. Okay, the Supreme Witch is fighting the Witch Hunter, who has 5 combat dice, and the mercenary Gerlach, who has 3, so that's 8, versus her 4. So if your Witch Hunter is fighting, he gets +1 for the spear, +1 for zealot, and +1 for combat. Yeah, right. So you get a +3 on your attack. Evil Eye only works on defense, so if she gets to counterattack, then that'll come into play. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
6, 7, because of my dagger.
And
you
7.
got a 7, so that's a wash.
Okay.
All right, you're going to go again?
Yep.
Yeah, so I got a 4 + 1 is
5.
5. You got a 3 + 3 is 6.
6.
So you're successful, so you kill the Supreme Witch.
That was a hard battle, though.
So, yeah. So that's the end of the Supreme Witch. And you want to just quickly do this other battle over here?
Yep.
Since it's all over but the shouting at this point. Okay, we'll do a final round of combat over here. That's Sabrine, who I may have called Sabine from X-Wing accidentally a few times. But that's Sabrine. That is the cult leader. She has 2 points. He has 1. The thug, one of the Filth brothers. Is that Maggot or Shiv?
I don't know.
We don't know. We can't tell them apart. Has 1 point. And then Sir Ronan is at full strength in his plate mail, which has served him well. Okay, so
Who's defending?
I am going to have, I guess the cult leader will defend, because he has padded armor, which gives him a +1.
Okay.
So the cult leader, Maximilian, gets 2 combat dice. The witch, Sabrine, gets 2, so that's 4. So then Sir Ronan has 3 combat dice, and the Filth brother has 2, so you have 5 to my 4. Sir Ronan gets a +2 because of his sword, and another +1 because of his combat expertise. So you're at a +3. I'm at a +1 for defense because of my padded armor. So are you ready?
Mm-hmm.
I got a 6, 7, and
8.
you got a 5, 6, 7, 8. So you were successful, and so you cleave the cult leader. So he's dead, and then are you going to attack again?
I can.
But will you?
Yes.
And 5, 6, 7, 8. She has a 5, and so she is dead. And that is the end of the Witch Scourge here on the edge of civilization. So now you are the owner of a proud new desecrated temple. So you got that going for you. So let's take stock of the heroes of the Great Purge, the ones who survived to get all the accolades and the grog. There is Sir Ronan, Sword of the Inquisition. There is, one of the Filth brothers survived, and we don't know if that's Maggot or Shiv, but maybe he can be elevated to knightly status now because of his service.
Sir Ronan came to his rescue.
That's right. Baron Gerlock, despite his misfire early in the game, seems to have survived and done pretty well. And then, of course, the heroic witch hunter, Ezekiel Wormwood, he can go back and tell people he did defeat the scourge of witchery here out in the outback. Okay, folks, well, that is our demonstration of Witchin Hour, a new game from Holland, which is going to be coming out on Kickstarter here in a few days, depending on when we get this video posted. So we hope we got most of the things correct. I'm sure there's a few little errors in there, but hopefully at least you still got a sense of the flavor of this game and some of its unique mechanics. So Lynn, what did you think? Compared to some of the other games we've been playing, this was a little bit different, right?
It was a little bit different. It can really go back and forth quick, and you never know what's going to happen because it just depends on how you use your chips and when you use them.
Yeah, and your dice, and making sure that you
know how many hit points your guys have.
And make sure you're factoring in things like armor and weapons and things like that. Even if you go into a combat with a pretty hefty weapon and a lot of bonuses, if someone's wearing plate mail or chain mail, they may simply out-defend you and then get to counterattack. And it can really turn on its head pretty quickly. But anyway, we enjoyed it, and we hope the game enjoys good success on Kickstarter. And that is our first Battle Report of 2020. Okay, folks, well, thanks very much for watching. As always, if you like the things we do here, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please give this video a big thumbs up. And, of course, please visit us online at our website, skirmishwargames.com.